Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Big episode here. We're talking bounce back players. I've got my special guest here, and he was here last week, and he's a friend of the show. And the guy I'm talking about here is Jimmie, a.k.a. the Maverick.
Hey, counselor, how you doing today?
Good. Did I call you Jimmie the Maverick or Jimmie Maverick? You're just the man.
Just call me Jimmie. That's good.
What's going on, man? All right, so let's roll to this, man. You've got a phenomenal app. It's going to lay out all of the bounce back players. We're going to pull that up in a moment here if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening in the car, we're going to walk through a bunch of rounds, probably the first 5, 6, 7 rounds or so. We're going to give you all the bounce back players for each round. So this is very important because with bounce back players, in most cases, a lot of people will be sleeping on them because of the recency bias. They may not have performed really to their pinnacle last year. So this year, they're going to be bouncing back. And I'm going to rip apart his app and see if if this app is really good. We did it what did we do on regression players? Was it last time?
We did regression, yeah.
Yeah, and he was pretty accurate. So I was really trying to grill him, and I'm like, okay, let's see your regression players. Let's see if this makes sense. And pretty much he passed the test, man. I think there's one player we disagreed on like, 10 or 12 players. So pretty impressive that he's done a lot of research. And again, I'm very picky. You guys know I hate the mainstream, and that's what Jimmie is not. He's not the mainstream Concheapsis. He's the Maverick. So that's great, man. Also line mentality. So I want you to kind of just shout out your kind of website, what you do, what the app is about to all the new listeners that haven't discovered you. And I'm telling you guys, you combo this with a 16-round draft solution, it's unstoppable. I'm all about giving you guys the newest, latest technology, information, and practical stuff to help you win. This is it. And we're going to pull up the app here to show you in a second. But Jim, can you just explain your website? Let me pull up the app actually here on YouTube so you guys can see it. Can you explain how to find you, Jim, and what your app is about and how it'll help people dominate their leagues, please?
Yeah, sure. So this is basically what my app is. It's a live draft tool to help you out on draft day on making those critical decisions when you've got like 90 seconds on the clock and you're trying to figure out who you want to take. My app is really set up to do that because that's always where I needed the most help. I would, in my past drafts, before I created this app, I was like lost in the wilderness on draft day, man. I was making stupid mistakes, taking players I never should have taken. And so I really needed something that was going to consolidate a bunch of information from a bunch of different sources into some sort of a coherent list that gives me an edge on draft day about finding the best players. So you can find the app exclusively at my website. It's fantasyfootballmaverick.com. And it is it's a subscription-based app, so you subscribe to it for the year, and you can use it in as many leagues as you want. And essentially, what it does is it allows you to create a fully customized draft list in just a couple of minutes. So essentially, you go in, you select how your league scores points, and you go in and first of all, you figure out how the league scores points, and you put in that. You can create a custom point list as well if you need to do that. Then you select your player filter so you can remove the highest risk, players from the list. So you don't even need to worry about them appearing on the draft list. And then the third thing it does is you enter draft mode. So you put in the size of your league and your draft position, and it breaks the draft down round by round and basically shows you who the best players are in each round of the draft. So you know who to target. And it really looks outside of like the next 3 or 4 players. Most people tend to live in that area where they're like picking their favorite choice of like the next 3 on the 3 at the top of the list. That's the wrong way to do a draft, man. You got to go deeper than that. Every player that's going to be gone, that's going to be picked between this pick and your next pick, is a viable player to consider for you to draft in each round. And so that's what this app basically helps you out.
Yeah. So with me, again, I know a lot of stuff. So, what the value I find in this, and this is really cool, you can actually filter by age. So I don't want Frank Gore on my team. I filter up people over 50. It's phenomenal, Jim. I mean, 50-year-olds are out. Phillip Rivers, Frank Gore, I don't want them. 50-year-old filter, boom, I can filter that out. Correct, Jim?
Yeah, and that's the big thing, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons I put the filters in is because, like, I don't want to have to know 250 NFL players' birthdays. I don't want to know that. I just want to put it in. And like for me, my drop dead date for running backs is age 29. I don't want any running backs over the age of 29. So I just put that in the filter. I say filter, less than age 20, greater than age 29 is who I want to have removed from the list. and it just takes them off. It's that easy. So you don't even need to worry about it.
Right. Okay. So we're not going to discriminate by age right now, Jim. We're just going to have some fun here and explain your app. No, but I love that. I absolutely love that. All right. So another thing that I love here is that it tells me if they're due for a contract. Now, let me get this straight here. By the way, we're going to give you guys all of the bounce back players in the first 5 rounds here in a second. But I got to go over how important this is because, again, you guys want that competitive edge. We are at war here, guys. Your league mates are at war with you. If you lose, there's a punishment. If you lose, you may lose a prize. Whatever it is, maybe it's bragging rights or maybe being the, whatever it is, you need to win. So we're getting armed here. This is not a joke. This is very serious for a lot of people, right? So all this extra tools, it's very easy to follow, guys. So this means, Jim, the gold dollar sign means he's in for a contract year this season, right? Like he's coming up.
That's correct. And it's only people that are on their rookie contract, right? I don't look at guys that are on their second or third contract and mark them. It's just the guys on the rookie contract because those are the guys that are playing for the biggest paydays, right? I mean, if they do well this year, it will directly result in a huge amount of money going into their pocket next season. So they're motivated to play. And so I mark off all the players that are on a contract year this season, after this season, with the gold dollar sign. And if they're on a contract year next season, they get a silver dollar sign. And both those are important to look at because those are the players with the most upside to offer, in my opinion.
Okay, so we're in the first round. Now, this is cool. So if you're drafting first, you can tell the app, hey, listen, oh, by the way, I think it might have scared some people. He said it's a subscription-based. Is that a monthly thing or just a one-time thing, correct? It's only a one-time.
It's just a one-time fee for a year. So it's $19.95 for unlimited use for one full year. Use it on as many leagues as you're in, as many drafts as you're in, and you can – and it will cater to each kind of draft you're in. If you're in a PPR league here and a standard league here, you can just adjust the point schedule and it adjusts the list and it adjusts the recommendations. You're not recommending the same players for standard as you are for PPR because there's different players to focus on.
What's crazy is like the price of a magazine. I'm telling you, man, I was at the newsstand. I was at Walmart the other day, do some groceries there once in a while. And I saw a magazine. It was like $17. I'm like, dudes, are you kidding me right now? This thing was outdated upon print. Like it probably didn't even account for the fact that Damian Williams was gone now, and opted out. Like it's so beyond, outdated upon print. And they're just very cookie cutter. So the fact that you're charging this, I still today think you charge too cheap for this. But either way, you're giving value. You want everybody to get it. That's why, similar with 16 rounds, I'm offering immense value. So again, let's get to this here. Great value. Make sure you guys head on over to fantasyfootballmaverick.com and get this app. We're going to walk you through, and I'm going to rip it apart and see if there's any mistakes. So let's go with the first round here. And again, for the bounce back icon, which one is that here? Is it the green here?
Yeah, it's the green bouncy ball. My app, I say, is starting to look a lot like Lucky Charms there with all these little colorful icons next to the names.
Yeah.
But yes, the green bouncing ball, that is a bounce back. And basically what it does is it gives a +1 bonus to their outlook score. So they get an extra star on their outlook. And that in turn raises their, what I call the VORC score, where I look at value, outlook, reliability, and consistency. Which are my 4 key stats that I look at. And depending on how they score on those, they get points. Then those points are added up. That's the VORC score. So by being a bounce back player, they get a bump to their outlook, and that increases their VORC score, and it pushes them up the list. That's what you want. You want to focus on the players at the top of the list when you're in draft mode, because those are the best players for you to look at. Ignore the players at the bottom half of the list because they're not good choices at that point in the draft. Doesn't mean they're a bad choice overall, but you don't want to take them. Like, for instance, you don't want to take someone like Tyreek Hill with your first pick. No one's going to do that anyway, but I'm just saying he's a bad choice for this round for your pick.
Perfect example here. I'm going to give you an example. So this is round 1, correct?
Yeah. So this is round 1, pick number 1.
So we're drafting first. So for example, he's got a good score here, Kenny Galladay, which I like Kenny Galladay, due for a contract year. Great. So he's recommending him here, but he's saying he's a reach. So this is what these arms are. So you can get Galladay here, which I wouldn't. You'd be reaching for him. So yes, he's phenomenal value, right, Jimmy, if I'm saying this right? But you would technically be reaching, so you can wait, right? Is that what it's saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, the reach is there to kind of basically what it means is on the next round, he's going to be a long shot to make it to pick number 24, right?
Okay.
So if we really want him, if he's like the guy that we want more than anyone else, we should take him now. Or we could just say, you know what? I'm going to gamble. I'm going to take a chance, and it's less than a 50-50 shot he'll make it back to us, but there is a chance. And I gamble and win all the time on drafts, but it just gives you a little extra piece of information so you know when you need to take a player.
The only thing that sticks out is he doesn't really come off the first round of the mock drafts that I've done. I understand that he's very valuable, and I like him more than Godwin and Evans. Believe me, I like him more. Now, if a smart person would know that, because again, with Godwin and Evans, who's going to be the wide receiver one, right? Brady's not going to feed both of them, as much as Galladay, I think, is going to get fed. So I definitely think he deserves to be here. But in mock drafts, why did you put him so high here? How do you end up so high in this app?
Well, he scores, if you look on the left side there, he scores 48 VORC points. And basically that comes from he's got 4 stars on his outlook. He's got high reliability and 7 out of 10 on consistency. So he scores very, very well on all 3 of those points.
Right.
The big negative is his value. His value relative to the first pick in the draft is not good. So that takes away from his score. You can see the -7 on value there. That means he's overvalued right now.
Okay.
But, again, he is one of my favorite wide receivers to target this year. There's no way I'd take him first overall, though. That's ridiculous. You look at the top 3 choices there. Those are the guys I would take first overall. Zeke, Barkley, Kamara. They score the most VORC points, and they're significantly higher scoring than Kenny Galladay at this point. So
very nice.
Those are the guys I would choose from.
And again, we didn't talk about this before, but we have a similar mindset, whereas Dalvin Cook is a little bit lower in the first round, where he's coming off 5th. Apparently news came out today, and he's apparently saying that he wasn't planning on holding out the whole time. So Cook obviously realizing I think he was bluffing. He wasn't going to get the money he was supposed to get, realizing if he holds out, Madison's going to take that job. So he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If I hold out, they're not going to pay me, and Madison's going to take my job. If I play, I'm going to get hurt again. So, at least if he plays, he's got a better chance of getting that big deal, right? So,
yeah, I think Melvin Gordon is the perfect example as to how not to run your career in the NFL.
Right.
And, that holdout that he did was disastrous. And, of course, Austin Eckler was amazing and explosive in those games that, Gordon didn't play in. And then Gordon now got – his contract is less money than what they were going to offer him on an extension last year that he rejected and held out on. So, that's the big risk this year. Plus, there's there's 7 or 8 elite running backs that are on a contract year this year. A lot of them are going to make it to the market next year. So it's a buyer's market in the NFL for running backs. And so that also holds down the value of these guys for their, what sort of money they can expect for sure.
Good point there with the Melvin Gordon. So let's talk about some bounce backs in the first round. So Sequon Barkley, I don't have the stats in front of me exactly, but I'm going to tell you right now, finished 10th last year in PPR, just over 1,000 yards, and still managed to finish that, 10th amongst running backs. He didn't play the full season, had a terrible O-line. Again, this year, better O-line, obviously, better offense overall, and he's hungry to succeed. What are your reasons here for having him as a bounce back?
Well, that's one of my criteria for a bounce back. The first criteria is a massive volume relative to how many touchdowns they scored. And in the case of Saquon, he went from 15 touchdowns in his rookie season to 8 last year.
And that,
of course, really killed his value. This year, and he was running with an injury. He had that high ankle sprain for most of last season. That really held him back. He's just really primed to bounce back this year. I think that Giants offense is going to be really good. They're going to have to score a lot of points because the defense is no good. And I really like Daniel Jones. I just put a post about him up on my Instagram just because I'm saying that he's one of my favorite late round quarterbacks to grab. But I think that offense is going to be significantly better. Barkley's going to be a chief beneficiary of that.
The nice thing is here, you can actually pull up, you click on the player, and boom, you're in the draft. So you have your draft running in your other tab on the computer. You have this app running, and then bam, you know what I'm saying? You just open it up. You see your player. Okay, who are the guys? Okay, boom. Okay, so he's due for a bounce back here. What were his stats last year? Bam, right there. So very, very easy to use, very easy to follow. So who else is here as a bounce back? You have Alvin Khmer. What's the deal with him? And he finished 9th last year, so he's always a top 10 finisher. I think it was a bit of a down year. He's got to go up.
It was a big down year for him, man. He went from 18 touchdowns to 6. and his volume stayed nearly identical. And again, another one, playing injured during a big portion of the year. He missed some time. That really hurt his value. But like I said, you can't deny that the New Orleans offense is going to be excellent again this year. And he is, he's got the opportunity. He is going to come back very strong. And I think it's even better because Latavius Murray is no Mark Ingram, so I don't think you really have to worry so much about the second running back in that backfield. Alvin Khmer is going to put on a show again.
Yeah, I think so too, man. He's going to be safe, solid. And yeah, with him, I just always dance around him because he's always part of a 1-2 punch. So I try to get guys that aren't. So yeah, let's go with other bounce back players here that we got in the first round. Anyone else? Or those?
I don't think there's anyone else in the first round that gets the bounce back moniker.
Yeah, let me just take a look here. Yeah, everybody's pretty solid. Juju maybe, but I'm not sold on him bouncing back. So is that why he's not a bounce back?
Yeah, I'm having a tough time with the quarterback situation there with Ben. Is he past his prime? Is he in the decline stage of his career, coming back from a really significant injury to his elbow on his throwing arm? He's looked good so far, but he's not in actual game situations yet. Yeah. And also, I've also heard that the Steelers are getting ready to just let him walk at the end of this season. It is a contract year for him. So I'm not sure that he is going to be a good – he's not a candidate for me for a bounce back because of those negatives.
I don't feel him either. And then Deontay Johnson, I think Tomlin was saying that out of all the players he's seen – out of from their first year to their second year in regards to bulking up and just looking more like a specimen in regards to just taking care of their body work. He said that Deontay is really, really improving. I'm really high on Deontay later.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, this year more than ever, I'm really fading rookies almost all across my board. But second-year players, man, I am going big on them for big breakout seasons. I think they are going to be the key to success this year. And that's who you should focus on instead of the rookies, because the rookies, Belichick was just saying that they are facing this tumultuous storm in trying to acclimate themselves to the NFL that rookies in prior seasons haven't had. And really, I want guys that are already established on those offenses, and these second-year players, I think, is where the big breakouts are going to happen this year.
Yeah, I agree. Already heard Denzel Mims did something to his hamstring already, not to mention, are they going to handle durable-wise? Never mind learning the playbook and all integration like that. So that's going to be an issue. So, yeah, good point there for sure. Be selective with the rookies, and I've offered some rookies in 60-round draft position as well that I really like. I like Justin Jefferson, guys like that. Yeah. All right, so let's move to the second round here. By the way, I'm nitpicky here. I like it. It totally makes sense. That's why I said Juju, and we both agree that I don't see a bounce back there. Yeah, man, that's it. I'm just trying to take a look here, just giving a quick scan. Yeah, man, it looks pretty good, man. I'm pretty impressed. Guys, head on over to fantasyfootballmaverick.com. Make sure you guys are getting this app. All right, let's move on to the second round here. Second and third round combined. So the bounce back that pops out to me is Robert Woods. Now, he had a pretty safe season last year, did he not?
Oh, he had a very good season. Great volume, man. 139 targets, but only 2 touchdowns. Yeah. And, touchdowns are like the hardest thing to project in football. But when you're getting that sort of an excellent volume, I can certainly see him going back to 5 or 6 touchdowns, which is what he normally gets in an average year. And had he gotten that last year, man, he would have been a solid wide receiver 1. Yeah. Even without those touchdowns, he was a great high-end wide receiver 2. But I just think he's going to bounce back strongly. And those touchdowns mean so much for fantasy. It really does make the difference on a week-to-week basis in getting you those victories that you need to get. And so, like I said, I think he's going to be very, very good for fantasy this year.
That was one of the turnoffs for me, was the lack of touchdowns for him. So I'm more of a Cup guy, but we'll see how this plays out. I still think he's a 2 there. I think he's being valued as the 1. It's a coin. It's literally a coin toss here. So.
Well, I've been able to get Woods in the 4th round in many drafts, and I think that's just a perfect place to take him. I think he is a tremendous value there at that point. Yeah.
I think he's going to be a safe guy. Not a guy I'm excited about, but definitely going to be safe. Bounce back here for my friend Le'Veon Bell. Now,
your best buddy.
If you haven't seen the drama, I haven't talked about it here. Basically, I said, I saw him doing a boxing video and he didn't look very good. His form, he was posing. Let's be honest here. So I don't know what he's trying to do. He's not even good at football. Not, he's a little overrated in football. Let's put it that way to all the Le'Veon Bell lovers. Anyway, long story short, I basically challenged him to a charity boxing event. He came on my social in the comments, declined. I sent him a message, and I was a little harsh in the comments, making fun of him with the lack of boxing skills. Did a simulation video of me mocking the way he moved, which he sucks moving in boxing. He moves like a slug. But the point I'm trying to make here is he basically put in his story mode a kind, heartfelt message of me saying, hey, man, this is just my brand. Nothing personal. Maybe I'll get you on my show if I'm wrong about you. And that boxing charity match is still up. And he put it in his story mode for 4 hours and took it down. Either way, the point I'm trying to make is this guy's a narcissist, and I came after him and wanted just charity match, declined it. Now he's a little bitter. Either way, it is what it is. Wanted to share that story with you guys. So let's move on here with him. What's the deal with the bounce back? He was a little safe. So you think he has a better year this year?
Well, I got to tell you, last year was a situation where I was just staying a million miles away from Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. He was coming off. He took the whole prior season off. He came into he changed teams with a coach that didn't like him very much. And his quarterback caught mono, and there's no offensive weapons. I mean, it's no wonder he had a terrible season last year. But this year, everything's better for Bell. I mean, I love the glowing reports we're getting about him. Even Adam Gase said nice things about him, which is just an amazing thing to hear. But he's going to be a workhorse, man. He's going to be a 300 touch and target guy. He was. Let's see here. How many touchdowns did he get last year? I think he got
like three.
Four. He got four touchdowns on over 300 touches and targets. That's going to revert, and it's going to bounce back this year on that kind of a volume. And there's no one else that's really going to take much away from him. I mean, you got Frank Gore. Sorry about there's a fly in here. You got Frank Gore's 37 years old, and you got a rookie. You got LaMichael Pirine. And I'm not worried about either of them in that backfield. It's going to be Bell's show, and he's the best offensive player on that team, so he's going to get the rock a lot. So I see a strong bounce back for him.
If he's healthy. The only problem is they have no receivers, so a ton of stacked boxes. And he's a patient runner. He's not going to have the time to run the way he had with that O-line with the Steelers. And again, I'm not sold on Le'Veon Bell, but I will tell you, phenomenal value compared to last year. You get this guy third. So I've seen him slip to the fourth sometimes.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just a perfect choice there for just that level of volume. To get someone that's going to get that many opportunities with the ball in the third round, you got to take advantage of that, in my opinion.
All right, more bounce back. Adam Thielen, I haven't looked at the stats. I know he played 10 games last year. I think he was injured. So
yeah, last year was a bad year for him. But now that Stephon Diggs is gone, he is the guy. I mean, sure, you got Justin Jefferson there, but Justin Jefferson's a rookie. Again, the rookies, I don't want anything to do with them. They got the super steep learning curve this year. It's going to be a trial by fire. He's the main receiver on that unit. I see a very strong bounce back for him in regards to what he did in 2018 when he was an amazing wide receiver one. So he's definitely in a great situation. The situation really improved, and that's why I gave him the bounce back moniker.
Yeah, I like that for sure. And then that's it for this round 2 and 3. Let's move on here to round 4 and 5. Some bounce back players. And I agree with this one here. The one that really pops out to me, the one that I only see here in rounds 4 to 5, which I would actually give to David Montgomery as well. I think you're missing out on him. 240 attempts last year, 242, 6 touchdowns. I mean, he could only get more. He was being pulled off on 3rd and 1. Nagy was trying to be cute with him. I think they use him more. I think he completely bounces back. What do you think of David Montgomery? I'm surprised you don't have him as a bounce back.
Well, I'm just not impressed with that offense. I mean, today I was reading that they're saying that Trubisky's going to be the starter, and that's not surprising. Foles, is coming in cold. I'm guessing there's going to be a quarterback controversy that happens. The O-line is no good. I mean, it's just, there's just a lot of problems with Montgomery for me this year that would cause me to not want to give him, a bounce back candidate. I would certainly love to see the Bears do better, and I think they should be able to do better, but especially with the quarterback controversy, I just want to stay away from that. It's going to be a mess.
I guess I should have answered my own question. In order to bounce back, you got to be there to begin with to bounce back, and he's never been there so it makes total sense that he's not really a bounce back candidate because he was never really a pinnacle guy or a top guy anyway. So I kind of get that, but I just think he has a better season than last year. So yeah, maybe bounce back isn't the right term to use here. Kareem Hunt, man, obviously he needs to bounce back off that 2017 year. He won't be the rushing leader. I don't see that as long as Nick Chubb's in the house, but yeah, I mean, he was really tearing it up, outscoring Nick Chubb 6 out of the 8 games they played together in PPR. So he will be a PPR guy. Yeah, man, definitely a bounce back from last year for sure. I would say for sure.
Yeah, just the fact that he'll be available for 16 games instead of 8 is a big reason for the bounce back. But, we know what Hunt can do. We've seen him play a full season. The guy is excellent. And the fact is that this is going to be a run-first offense. I mean, you see what the Vikings offense was like last year. That's what this offense is going to be. And Hunt is going to be the pass-catching back, the change-of-pace guy. Chubb does not catch balls. So, there's a ton of volume and opportunity on that team. And so I just love the fact that he's going to be there for a full 16 games. I think he's really going to remind people what he can do. So I very much like him for bouncing back this year.
Definitely more of a complete back. All right, so let's wrap this up here with round 6 and 7. Make sure you guys head on over to fantasyfootballmaverick.com. Grab the app. Great price, only a one-time payment. I'm telling you, definitely worth the money. You got everything laid out in front of you. I mean, you're crazy not to go with this. Everything right in front of you. Research, data, analytics, contract information, bounce back. Are they injury prone? Are they coming off an injury? What's the fist again here? Breakout candidate.
Oh, that's a breakout, man. We can talk about that on a future show if you want.
Yeah, let's do that as a future show for sure. All right, so let's go here. Bounce backs. Matt Ryan, I 100% agree with you on this one. I love this. I love the value for him. People investing Kyler Murray picks in the 5th round. I can get this guy in 6 and 7. Matt Ryan, high-octane offense, arguably the 2 best receivers in the game. I mean, I don't really need to ask you this, but I just want to get your opinion on why you like Matt Ryan for a bounce back.
Well, I got to say, man, when you look at what Matt Ryan has done over the past 4 seasons, 2018 and 2016 were the years that he was in the second year of an offensive coordinator's system. And those were the years that he posted his best numbers. So now we're in a situation this year where it is, again, going to be the second year in an offensive coordinator system that really started to crank last year. They really started to do really good. And I just love Matt Ryan. I love the Falcons, man. There's so many great fantasy options on that team. And I think, again, absolutely a bounce back for him is going to be another one of those pinnacle years, 5,000 yard, 40 touchdown kind of season for him. So definitely, I love to get him for fantasy.
Beyond excited for him. Another bounce back here around 6 to 7 average. And yeah, he is a bit of a reach in 6 to 7. He has been slipping a little bit farther down. But Matt Stafford, I mean, healthy Stafford and Galladay, I think this is going to be a crazy, amazing year for these guys. Love them.
Yeah, I look at how good he was doing before he got injured last year. This darn fly is driving me nuts. Of course, he's bugging me right now. All right, yeah, but Stafford, he was tearing it up last year for the first 8 weeks of the season. And now we got the offense is going to be even better. You got Hawkinson going into year 2. You got Swift now in the backfield along with Kareem Johnson. And you got Galladay on a contract year. You got Marvin Jones. I mean, I just think it's going to be a really effective offense that's going to score a lot of points. And they're going to have to score a lot of points because that defense is not that good. So, again, it's just a fantasy goldmine kind of situation. And that's what I want. So,
I can't wait.
Yeah, I love Stafford.
That's an offense I will be watching. All right, let's do an added bonus. Let's do round 8 and 9 for bounce back as well, since we're here. And there's one guy here. Matt Stafford slips down here. Is there any bounce back? Not really anybody here stands out and bounce back. So I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's not everyone. And you can see Matthew Stafford. He's on this level as a long shot, right? So he is he's someone who has less than a 50-50 chance to make it to this round if we're picking first. So, it's one of those things like, oh, how much do you like Matthew Stafford? Well, if you like him, you're probably going to have to take him with the prior round pick, unless you want to gamble. You can gamble and go for it here.
All right. Yeah, Jimmy. So there you have it, guys. Some bounce back players in the first 7 rounds here for you. Again, phenomenal app. You combo this with the 16-round draft solution. You guys will be set, locked, and loaded to dominate your leagues. You got everything. You don't even need to look anywhere else. No magazines, nothing like that. No cheat sheets. This is it. head on over to fantasyfootballmaverick.com and get the app right away. It's polished, and you've been working hard on this for many years to get it to where it's gotten. And I got to tell you, I'm very, very impressed.
Well, thank you very much, Counselor, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. Head on over again, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. I've linked it below. Get it, smash thumbs up, and leave your fantasy football questions below. Jim and I will get to them. Try to get to as many as we can. Thank you for being here, guys. Stay tuned. Have yourself a good weekend. If you're drafting this weekend, now you're fully prepared. Thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody.